In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the first part of the drawing, the bracket. So I'm going to create from this isometric, I'm going to create this multi-view. So understanding what you're looking at, we'll start with our rectangle, and then we'll start with the upper portion of the drawing. So I'm going to start with a polyline, and I'm going to pick a point just arbitrarily in space, and I'm going to snap. I'm just going to use my snap to coordinate right there, and just to get started. So I know based on this it's 72 inches wide. Okay, so that's both from this part of the drawing and just looking at the overall. If this is 48 and it from center to the edge is 12 and center to the edge is 12, we know the total width is going to be 72. So I'm going to use my ortho, I'm going to turn it on, and I'm just going to direct distance the distance 72. It's going to be 10 up, 72 back, and I'm going to type in CL for close. So that gets me this first part. So 72 wide, 10 up. Now, the next part of it is we know that this radius right here is 15. So what I'm going to do is from this midpoint, I'm going to bring it up 50 feet or 50 millimeters, and then I'm going to offset to get these two outside lines. So I'm going to go polyline, and I always use a polyline. You can use a regular line if you want. I'm going to turn my O-snaps back on, go to the middle, go 50 up, and I'm going to offset 15 on each side. The reason I'm doing that is because from here, if this is 15, that would be from the center to the outside edges are each 15. Now, I can also draw a circle from the center to the end point. And I'm going to trim, and I'm going to enter again for trim all, and I'm going to get rid of this information, and I don't need that center line anymore. However, I'm going to undo, and I'm going to keep that center line. And the reason is because I want a 10-foot offset. Or a 10, I keep saying feet, I'm sorry, millimeters. So I'm going to offset this line, offset 5, O for offset, 5. I'm going to offset each side, 5 and 5. However, it's only 40 to the top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and explode this. Explode. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to offset it 40 to here, and then I'm going to trim. I'm going to trim by this and get rid of these lines here. Or I can type in trim and enter for trim all and get rid of those objects. And I'm just going to delete this out. All right. So now I've got this first part set. Now I need to, you could use a circle, but I'm going to fillet these two sections. Now when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and trim and get rid of this middle section. So TR for trim. I'm going to trim by these two objects. So I select those and enter, and I'm going to delete that out. The reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to fillet this section so I don't have to mess with circles. We know that radius is also 15. So I'm going to go fillet R for radius and type in 15. Fillet here and fillet here. Now the last thing that I need to do, or the next thing I need to do, is I'm going to go ahead and draw that line back so it's interconnected. All right. Now, the other circle that we have up here is a radius of 6, but it's concentric. That means it's at the exact same center. So I'm going to type in C for circle, and I'm going to go to the center and type in 6. So now I've got the center at 6. Now, the next thing that I have is I know that these holes are 48 offset. Okay, from each other. And they're 12 from the edge of the line. So from this line, offset, I'm going to go 12 in. And I'm going to offset again. And I can hit enter because it's already got 12. And pick this and go to the inside. Now, these are actually going to be my center lines. So I'm going to change the layer, and notice my properties box is open. So if you don't have your properties palette open, type in PR for properties, and the palette will open up. So if it's not there, type in PR and it'll automatically set. Some people have theirs floating, where it's actually out here in space like that, I like to set mine, so that's fine, however you wish. Again, these two lines are actually going to be changed to center lines. All right, now I'm going to just, here's the other thing. There's a specific distance that you might want to use, like offset 3 millimeters on each side, and extend this to those two lines. I'm extending the center line, so it's a little bit above and a little bit below, and then I'm just going to delete those lines back out. Notice that you can't see the center line, how it looks. So you might want to type in LTS for your line type scale, and I'm going to change that to 10. I'm sorry, 0.5. I went in the reverse. So now you can see my center lines. Now, the next thing is we know from the circle, they're 12 millimeters. So you can offset that 6 on each side. And you'll trim, and I'm going to hit enter twice. So undo. So trim, enter twice, and I'm going to get rid of the top and the bottom of these. Now these lines that I'm trimming are actually going to be hidden lines. So I got to select them, and I'm going to change them to hidden lines. Okay. Now in this, the hidden lines are green, so I'm going to change on my layers, layer management. So I'm just matching the drawing. My hidden lines are green. So we'll change it in layers, and it automatically updates here. So now look what I've got. I've got this finished. Okay. Now I need my center mark. So in the new one, underneath annotate, there's a new center mark. So if you click on the center mark and click, it automatically puts the information there. And I need to change it to the center line. Okay. So now I've got my center mark. So that's the front. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the top. So the good thing about this is I'm going to change to my construction layer, and I'm going to do a polyline, and I'm going to just draw straight up. Now, where these are, so now I know the actual width and depth of the top view. So I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a point, and I'm going to just use my snaps for a second. And I'm going to draw at the, I'm going to turn my O snaps off. Oops, not ortho, O snaps. And I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to turn my snaps back off, but I'm going to turn my O snaps on and go perpendicular. Okay. There's also, I need to change that from construction to actual object line. So we know that that depth is 35. So I can say offset 35, and I can do a P-line and actually connect. I'm going to put my object layer back. So I'm going to make that, go to home, and I'm going to make my object layer current. And I'm going to type in PL, and I'm going to connect my lines. I can also copy. If you CO for copy, if you just want to go like this, it's up to you. However you wish to do it. Now, we know that this outside radius is 12, so I'm going to use my fillet. Fillet radius, R for radius, and I'm going to type in 12. Pick this point, pick that point, repeat fillet, pick that point, pick that point. Now, the next thing that I see is where these circles need to go. So they're located 12 from the edge. So I know that where the center is and the radius is 6. So I can draw a C for circle, find the radius, type in 6, and I can do the same for the other side. Circle, find the center point. It's already set at 6, so I'm just going to hit enter. Now on the back side, we know that there's some information going on, and we'll have to look at how far the back goes. So this part here says it's 13 from the back edge, and we can go ahead and offset 13 and bring that in. Now, we can also, from there, we can use these lines here to project. So I could go from here to, let me get my perpendicular on, to here, from here to here. I can also just grip it, edit that, and that's where that belongs. Okay? Now, this, where this line goes out to where this fillet ended. It's called a round. So I'm going to draw a line, a P line. Where that ends, where that end point ends, I'm going to go ahead and just draw the line up because I'm having a little bit of time. So I'm going to trim that off so I know that goes to there, and I'm going to move this line from that end point to where that end point is, and I'm going to trim it here. So I know that's how far that line goes. Now, this distance here, if I'm looking at it, is going to be 5 off. So I'm going to offset 5 to there. Okay? Now, the next part of it is this piece here. We know because of the radius, it's 15. I can also just take a polyline and go from here to here. And I can repeat that line. And I've got my extensions on from here to here. So we know that's how wide that object is. Now I need to go ahead and send it back to the, I'm going to extend, I didn't take this far enough back, to here. Okay, now I'm going to, underneath here, it should have been, yep, see how it has a hidden line there? That should be a hidden line from, I'm going to trim this, and I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to trim by this and get rid of that. And then I'm going to create a line from here to here. This is a hidden line because when I'm looking down, I can't actually see that cutout. I know it's there, but I don't see it from the top. Okay? Now, all I have to do is from the center, where this circle is, from this point here, I know, sometimes I just go ahead and use the snaps. I know that it goes all the way through, from here to here. So I can trim off this. Now, sometimes what I'll do is I'll say copy, CO, and I know I'm copying it from this side to this side. And I can type in MA for match properties, and I know all of these are hidden lines. And then I know that from the center point, from here to here, it is going to be a center line. Okay, so I'm going to offset 3 so I can actually get, the center line's always extended a little past your visible line. So I'm going to extend that to each one of those, and I'm going to delete these lines. Okay, so you can pause the video as you go along so you can see what we're doing. Now, the last side I have is going to be my right side. So I'm going to move this up so I can get to drawing. And I know that the width, or the depth is going to be 35, and I know that there's a cutout. Now, here's the other thing. There is a error in this drawing. This line right here should have been a hidden line. It should have been a hidden line. And the reason it's hidden line is because if I look at this, if this is 6, that means this is 4 because the total was 10. So I'm going to offset this 4. This should have been a hidden line in that drawing. Okay, I'll try to clean up my errors as I go along. So I'm going to type in match and make that hidden. Okay, so now you can also use the mitered line to draw this, but I'm just going to do it based on dimensions. The other thing that I'm missing up here is my center, so I'm going to go to annotate, my center marks here and here, and I'm going to put them on the proper layer. Let me just change that to center. Okay. Now, I turn my snap on just because I want to get snapped to a grid. And I'm going to turn my snaps back off because I'm just going to snap to a grid point in here. Now, I know this is 35. I'm direct distance entering, and I know it goes up 10. Now, here's the thing. If I'm looking at it, it actually goes up 6, comes over 5, goes up 4. So I'm going to undo that. So it goes up 6, goes over 5, comes up 4, and then I'm going to turn my use my snaps to get it set to do the extension. So this is what the base of it looks like. Now, I can actually just bring over, so I'm not having to do a lot of measurements. I can bring this over and I can bring this part up. Okay, now I'm going to offset that 13 because I know that's the width of it from this base. Okay, and then I can trim this out. So trim, and get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. All right, now it's not fully 13 because the round only goes, see how it goes around? That's the 15. It would actually go and offset 15 from here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the radius. So it's actually offset 30. This line right here, I can actually change to a center line. So I'll just change that to a center line. Offset 3, so I can extend that center line front and back. And extend to this line here, extend, and I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to delete that. Okay, now I'm going to trim. Now the width of this base, we can see it stops at the 5, so I can just draw a line from here, and I'm using polylines, and I can trim this off. Okay, and I can trim this off. Or I can use my grip edit and pull it back, either way. Okay, now the next thing that I see is these hidden lines. The hidden lines are represented by the edge of this circle going out. So I'm going to type PL for polyline, and I'm going to use my extension. Well, it won't catch, so I'm just going to go ahead and do perpendicular. And I'm going to trim. Trim by that line, get rid of this information. Now I'm going to copy this, but I'm copying it from this point right here to this point right here. All right, type in MA for match properties, and I'm going to select the property that I want, the hidden line, and I'm going to paint, basically, that's why it looks like a paintbrush, the hidden lines here. Okay, now the circles down here at the bottom, we know that they're 12 from the front. That center line is 12. So I'm going to offset, and since this is a closed polyline, I'm going to type in explode, and I'm going to offset 12 to here. So I'm going to match properties, and that is a center line. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to offset that line 6 so I don't have to do the trimming in the second part. Type in MA for match properties. So the outside ones, I use the hidden line, so I selected this hidden line first and then painted, and then I'm going to type in match properties again, and I'm going to pick the center line and match that property. Now I have to offset the top line 3 just to get my extensions, and I'm going to extend to this and this line by my center line, and I'm going to delete those out. Okay, the last part is this part right here, so I can actually draw a line from there, pick here to here. Okay, so that's what the front of the view looks like, or the right side of the view looks like. Okay, now the next thing is the dimensioning. So you can come up here and underneath your annotate, leave this as the ISO 25, select your dimension, and start dimensioning the object. Now, here's the other thing is I need to make sure you snap to the correct place. Make sure it's on the dimension layer. So I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to make the dimension layer current. So I just pick dimension layer. Here's another way to do it, dimensions, and check for current. and then I can just start dimensioning my object. So you can, the dimensions that are shown here. I'm not going to do all the dimensioning, so just follow whatever this is dimensioned as in your notes. You know that you have a dimension, so annotate, we're going to be using the radius. So click on that and pull it out to the side, dimension radius, pull it out to the side, and continue on dimensioning. All right, so that's it for this video.